The Balanced Scorecard is the third section of the strategic plan design. It is where the strategy map objectives are assigned to every employee in a way that they become partially responsible for the success of each chosen objective. Whenever an objective is selected for a person, a responsibility is defined, and also a measurement method and score are attached. The Balanced Scorecard is then the active part of the strategic plan and is comprised of 3 linked tables. These tables are normally called grids because they are active and contain many different types of data: text, numbers, icons, and links to external documents or websites. The 3 grids are objectives, initiatives, and monthly, with each supporting the one above. Through their linkage, they provide a top-down pathway which represents the organisational operational alignment. Each activity must be linked to a parent concept, which in turn is linked via the strategy map right back to the primary source, which is a group of visionary strategic statements. Objectives grid. Please note that it is possible to rename the term objectives. Many strategic plan designers prefer to use the name goals, whilst others use targets or success factors. The primary function of the objective grid is to define and measure how a strategic objective applies to an employee or person. Each person will have different organisational duties. Because their duties must be based on the objective that is defined in the strategy map, the duties become aligned with the strategic objectives. Primary concept. The strategic objective must be applied to each person's activities, and every employee has a responsibility to ensure that each relevant organisational strategic objective is successful. It is often the case that the one objective can be applied to more than one responsibility for the same person. Secondary concept. If you cannot measure what you are doing, then you probably should not be doing it. Associated with the responsibility are the concepts of success and measurement. Depending on the industry application, the responsibility is often called a key performance, and the common acronym KPI is a key performance indicator. Other organisations prefer the slightly less intrusive KRA or target, where KRA stands for Key Responsibility Area or Key Result Area. Measurement is essential, and in some instances it can be difficult to apply a measurement technique. Customer service would be one of these, and measurement is usually done using a customer survey, with a prize incentive for all customers completing the survey. The assigned score can often be qualitative, and it is useful to have a numeric score based on a scale of 1 to 100%. The advantage of the numeric score, or gauge, is that it can be averaged and have this value applied to the higher level concepts such as the entire strategy map. Additional columns. It is useful to add some additional information such as a date when the KPI or KRA is reviewed, plus also a link to larger documents or relevant websites. The initiatives grid. The term initiatives can also be renamed. To be compatible with Microsoft Project, the terms activity or action are sometimes used. As previously mentioned, the purpose of the Balanced Scorecard is to align and measure every organisational activity. Primary concept. The objectives grid contains no activity data. Each row definition is just the reference frame for defining and storing all activities. The strategic plan concept contains several parent-child or one-to-many relationships. For each objective there can be more than one KPI or KRA definition, and for each of these there are often several initiatives or activities. The initiatives must specify what date they relate to, hence a date range column should always be used. Some initiatives will share date ranges, whilst others may have their own dates. As this is a planning system, the user should not be forced into a constraint such as the financial year. You should have the ability to plan for natural events that often span across financial year boundaries. Secondary concept. Some grid cells such as date range will be commonly repeated. If the data was stored in a list form, then immediate allocation is possible, plus instant data cross-referencing becomes easy. Hence there are two cell types, free text and list-based text. Whilst it is necessary to provide a place to edit all list-based columns, it is essential that all users be able to edit the lists on the fly when working inside the grids. The ability to quickly cross-reference the Balanced Scorecard data is a huge advantage. This provides the basis for collaboration on data items such as objectives or KPIs. To be able to display all information based on common data such as an objective review date provides an excellent visibility in this critical business system. The most popular usage remains the ability to display all employees who are working towards a common objective or KPI so they can collaborate and share productive information. Additional columns. Extra columns can be added to enhance your information system. The initiatives grid is the activity and financial engine room of the strategic plan. The ability to include additional data such as general ledger account codes and references to external documents adds functionality. Budgetary columns can also be added to provide essential financial analysis. Monthly planning grids primary concept. Monthly grids provide the ability to track event or financial data according to a chosen date range. Particular emphasis is placed on budget planning with rows for planned and actual data. Derived financial information such as planned over actual percent are also popular. Secondary concept. When working with financial information, each monthly grid row has a total, and it is possible to display this as a cell back in the initiatives grid. In this example, the monthly actual over planned total values are shown as a cell in the initiatives grid, which can be shown as a graph in the chart export module. Using average numeric measurement gauges. The initial Balanced Scorecard concept requires that all KPI or KRA statements be measured and scored. However, it is likely that many of these scores will be qualitative and not numeric. A parallel numeric measurement facility is badly needed, as this can be used to provide averaged performance information. Once the averaging is possible, this leads to a number of ways that outcomes can be displayed. The most popular forms of averaging are averaged monthly data displayed in the initiatives grid row, average initiative data displayed in the objectives grid row, average objective data displayed for each employee or department in the organisational tree, and average objective data displayed for each objective in the strategy map. The ability to provide a gauge inside the actual strategy map provides an on-screen display showing the success status of each individual objective. When combined with an objective grid display showing how each objective gauge was derived, we achieve a feedback system called Strategy Map WYSIWYG. This is recognised worldwide as a powerful closed-loop learning concept. Defining Balanced Scorecard properties for regions and departments. The academic view of the Balanced Scorecard is that strategy map objectives are assigned to regions. The regional objectives are then assigned to departments, and finally departmental objectives are assigned to employees. This is an excellent structure, but in practice it is much easier to assign the employee objectives directly from the strategy map. Also, the academic view makes it impossible to easily restructure an organisation. All organisational objectives should be available to all employees. Regions and departments should only be viewed as containers, and their managers need to be assigned departmental properties. When every employee can be assigned any objective, then restructuring an organisation becomes very easy, just by moving the employee to a new or different department. Similarly, it becomes possible to allow copying of employee strategic data to create an additional but similar employee. When any objective can be assigned or reassigned to any employee, the regional or department objectives become simply those of its members. Furthermore, if a supervisor can automatically inherit objectives from their subordinates, then the job of managing the Balanced Scorecard becomes much easier and more automatic. Hence the academic view looks good, but in practice it makes life harder. It effectively prevents restructuring, and organisational readiness for change is reduced, which is the opposite of what was originally intended by the Balanced Scorecard academics. Summary. This presentation defines the primary and secondary concepts of each Balanced Scorecard grid. The linked 3-grid structure is rigid. However, it is possible to join the grids together, thereby building 1 or 2 grids. Grid rows can then be filtered to achieve the data display that you require. Thank you for downloading and watching this presentation.